Do y'all remember Voltron? I'm old enough to remember Voltron. We are building Voltron tonight. Let's go. It is time. Aquarian Anarchy is ready to Hotep and build community. Let's get it. And our quote for tonight, this one, I don't know who wrote this quote, but it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. While everyone is being distracted and bullied by governments, the media, and corporations, never forget that the most important people in your life are your family. And I know this one is from Samuel Konkin. Remember, the enemy we are fighting is 10,000 years old. It lurks somewhere inside nearly every person on Earth. It controls half the wealth and all the weapons of mass murder. It speaks over all the airwaves and nearly all the presses. It is evil. It is huge. It is the state. Can a ragtag band of rebels such as we hope to prevail against such an overwhelming terror? Yes, for the state is massive yet fragile, for it is built on a foundation of lies. These lies are only now being consistently exposed. Help wield the sword of truth and the shield of valor. Renew your dedication to freedom, anarchy, and the agora. And so we bring those two quotes up because this is something that we've been talking about. Actually, I got to give some credit to what's up, Steph. I got to give some credit to Hotep Dutch in the Anarch chat. And by the way, if you haven't already joined, go. The link is in the description below where you can join our Patreon for $5 a month. You get to join that chat where some really dope conversations go down that you don't get to see here. I will refer to them occasionally here, and Marcus and Nicco will as well. But Dutch was talking about like how Marcus has been doing what he's been doing, where he's building community with his Father's Day celebration and some other different celebrations where he gets groups of people together, and we've all got our own little different ways. And anyway, Dutch was just asking some very honest questions about, how to kind of get something like that going, because sometimes he feels like there's not that sense of community in parts of the Netherlands where he is. And so I just thought, like, when we're going through trying to come up with a topic for this week, this made the most sense. Let's get into how we Hotep and build our community and Hotep and build what I call Voltron, which is like this collaboration of everybody who has all their different unique personalities, their own different worldviews, their own different skill sets, and bring all of that together so that we can each benefit from one another's gifts that we have to offer each other. So here we are.
We're essentially talking about how to build America and what America should have really looked like as a melting pot, but instead,
for sure,
authoritarians.
Yeah,
right.
We're building America without the state.
Right.
Right. The American dream to be free of the state,
and not the American nightmare. So. Right. So it started off with some of the stuff that, and you guys have seen if you follow the Aquarian Anarchy Twitter account and you watch this show, we've talked about it a lot, where all the different things, whether it's his garden or the little shindigs that he puts together, bringing people over to Casa Pulis. It's something that is beautiful to behold, because you have a lot of different people who may not necessarily all share the same worldview.
Correct.
But they get to touch on each other's worldviews and learn a little bit and kind of find that common ground. And we'll start, Marcus, with you just kind of explaining like what it was that you were trying to share with Dutch about how you got that going, and like what you did to kind of bring some of those people in, and maybe even some of the people who don't come, who aren't necessarily antithetical to what you're about, but they maybe just are. It's not their cup of tea to be public like that.
Sure. And what we've done, just so people that haven't watched us a billion times might not know, is I have a group of people, most of them relatively anarchist. I would say that all of them are distrustful of government in one way or the other. Although I would say that, we don't fit the group of people that I hang out with. We don't fit the left-right paradigm very well, because there are people that would be considered left and there are people that would be considered right. They're involved, such as, now Scott has moved within about 15 minutes of my house, and he's a Republican. He's not an anarchist. And now he's definitely a libertarian leaning. He voted for Ron Paul, those kinds of, those kinds of Republican ideas, but still part of our little community. He just moved to this area. But you're right. There are a lot of differences. So I set out some time ago to focus primarily on my family, and the Father's Day stuff started with my wife. She saw that lots of people make a big deal of Mother's Day, and I have great kids. And she was like, hey, why don't we do something for Father's Day? And exactly. Strong Dad June. And it became a thing,
There you go.
We started, really focusing down on really starting to think about what we're doing. We've had discussions like Yancey in Texas and the experiences he's had, and all of the people that are loosely, and all's a big word, most of the people that are loosely associated with us are familiar with the Hotep Nation. They may not, watch the show all the time, but they're like, the Hotep Jesus guy's funny or whatever it is.
Right.
And so they're loosely interested in those kinds of things. Or most the people are also interested in God. And so I kind of started with focusing on my family, and then family got big. You started having people like Michael, who I call my brother, who isn't actually related to me, but we function like siblings, and that's good and bad, just saying. But
we all know what you mean. It's
right. We fight.
I love my baby brother, and we sometimes he'll check me every now and then and be like, hey, that wasn't fair. I love
my siblings, and I hit them with the meanest uppercut out.
Right, for sure.
That's love.
Yeah. So other people started getting involved. Hotel Jesus, not Hotep Jesus, got involved in the group, and we call him Hotel Jesus for those that don't know, because he works at a hotel and he's a maintenance guy and he looks like Jesus. So we call, and he likes Hotep Jesus, and we thought it was hilarious. We just call him Hotel Jesus. But and what's happened is I decided, why should we be the only ones that get to have fun? And so we have for some time, I actually learned this from Glenn Beck back when I was a conservative, which has been years ago now, but he had pointed out in one of his books, and I don't remember which one, but he had pointed out, he was like, so many people say they want to live in a neighborhood where people bring each other cookies or brownies. And he was like, okay, bring people brownies.
Just bring people cookies and brownies and make it happen. Yeah. I do. So I do chocolate covered pretzels and peanuts and pecans and stuff like that around Christmas time. So I do like white chocolate and milk chocolate. So
that kind of thing I think is really the core idea, is just to start sharing. And so we've started doing that, and really this past Father's Day, it really kind of clicked for me, because for one, I'm looking at about 20 people, including my neighbors. Anya's got a friend that her parents came to the thing, and we're building, and it's starting to kind of catch on. I'm also involved, this is kind of the second part of that. Most of us have an unusual spirituality, although not everyone. For instance,
everybody's spirituality is unusual.
I would agree, but most of us are not what most people would consider a traditional religious framework. That's not always true. My daughter-in-law, Katie, is pretty traditional Christian, and she's just understanding that her whole family's a bunch of
I was about to
wackos.
say, how she survive your family?
Because we're fun, and we modeled what we're doing. We call Babylon's Cup, and that comes from a theology understanding that Crowley brought about of a particular entity called Babylon. And for a very long story short, everyone is welcome, regardless, in the Cup of Babylon. Everyone.
Okay.
And that idea, and that means good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. You're welcome. One of the things we've started doing is when
Thank God you said ugly, because that means
right. We got to get Chad in here. No, I'm just joking. But no, the idea of acceptance. You are who you are. Now, you're not going to hang out with our family if you're talking about enslaving folks. That's just not going to happen because my family tear you apart.
Yeah, Nicco.
Right. Yeah. So
shit, my G. Yeah.
But no, we also are very spiritually minded. We understand that to free the world or to free each other, because, quite frankly, I don't have any illusion that I'm going to be able to free the world. That's not going to happen. But I can add some freedom to the people that matter to me. But that's not only a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing. And developing a spiritual life with people is extremely important. And Dutch is right. We do share some similar morals. We have similar ideas of what is good. And I think that's interesting because it goes between like political understanding. We have a similar core. We just apply it differently, and so I find that having a shared moral understanding is probably a very good thing to have. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of sharing, Nicco, what kind of sunflower seeds you spitting?
These are the sweet and spicy.
Can you hand a brother some?
There you go.
Come on now. I see you over there spitting in that bottle. God, dog,
I'm
man.
sorry. Would you
making me hungry?
Would you like me to talk it at the camera? Would you like me to show and expose all these true sunflower seeds to these lovely people?
I want to eat some. That's what I'm telling you.
I
want to be back. I
want
to be back at Wrigley.
Now, every one that I spit out, I'm gonna act like it's an old Western that's spitting in a bowl and makes unnecessary noises.
Nicco made me buy him a bag of peanuts at the baseball game.
I did not.
You started with the P word. It's not a bag of peanuts. I thought we were going there.
And then he didn't eat half of them.
What I'm about to say, I didn't ask this man for any nuts. Pause. Because I know for a fact.
So Chad wants Nicco's nuts. You got it.
I know for a fact. He offered me something. I was like, nah, bro. I just will.
I will not put another man's nuts in my mouth.
Said Nicco. Beer that I had you get me.
That's great. But to kind of finish up, one thing you said is that there is an extended. Because when I start looking at how many people are in my community, that's a really I don't know, because like 5 of those people, like I said, probably about 20, and 5 of those people are like under the age 15. So that takes that number down a little bit because they're not all that capable. They're capable of some things, but not a lot. And but at the same time, do I include Aaron and his family, who, if in a pinch, I guarantee if he can help me out. I had an issue with my plumbing, and he came right the fuck over and hooked me right up. And so does it include Aaron and Sarah and their family? And I would say that it does. Maybe they don't get together with us when a bunch of people are smoking weed, but when I need them in a pinch, they're there. So I think that when we start looking at, do we build our communities? I'm willing to bet that, like, for instance, Nicco's community is bigger than he realizes it is.
Working on it.
And that's a great segue into kind of what I wanted to. I just, as we were going through this process of figuring out what we were going to talk about this week. And then once we settled on it, it was like, well, how do we structure that without just like, I mean, we could just sit here and talk and, that's cool. That's fun. But it started to dawn on me, like we need like a little, not a how-to, but a bit of a guideline of like what would be a good way to go about this. And so like, this is an opportunity now. So we got a few people in the chat and everything. If you're watching this, you want to go ahead and share it with as many people as you can, because I want to start going through this, because we want to build a comprehensive list that covers as much ground as possible. I think we did a good job to start it off, but I want to get the chat, get the community chiming in to see if we missed anything, and also to kind of give their a little bit more breadth, I guess, to what this list entails. So I just put together this little thing of like, all right, this is how I think is a good way of going about being a good anarch and hotepping and building your community. And it starts where Marcus talked about starting. Love your family. And that's like your immediate family, but then also into your extended family as much as you can tolerate them. I know everybody, as you get farther and farther out, like sometimes there's some personality differences and other differences of opinion that have come up over the years. Thanksgiving dinner and those kinds of things. Certain topics may be off limits, but you still want to do what you can to make sure, similar to what Marcus was talking about with baking cookies and brownies, or if it's chocolate candy, which
I suggest tomatoes,
which wildly enough is, I also do peanuts and pecans, so I'm handing people nuts then too.
So you got this fixation,
people like to put, anyway, I'm not going to say it. It's I'm trying to be better, but my too many years of having a dirty mind has gotten it's a hard habit to break. Yeah, right. So but no, so doing that, where one of the comments that I made, because Dutch was saying something about how that happens, and I was like, yeah, the people, they're a lot less likely to call the cops on you or get mad at you or whatever if you feed them. If you give, if you invite somebody over to feed them, have a barbecue or whatever, they're a lot less likely to hate you, throw shit on your lawn, or turn you into the police or the homeowners association or whatever. Like it just, people, it goes back to that age old, what are the two most important commandments? Love God above all things and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two, those are the top two, because you can't love God if you're not loving your neighbor. And you can't get where you want to go unless you're doing both of those things. So anyway, that's good. Let's go. Bring it over to Rumble. Share the Rumble link. I tried to respond to you in there, Dutch, but it's saying I have to verify. What does it say? Please verify your Rumble account first. Thought I had done that already, but I can't do that while I'm on.
I thought they were going to have you verify your age.
But yeah, no. It's like it's something where I guess I have to hit some button and it's going to send me an email or some nonsense. But anyway, I can't do that now. So it starts with your family, and then once you're there and you've kind of built that foundation, now your family's taken care of. Your family's solid. Okay, well now you have time to branch out, and you can introduce yourself to your neighbors. We don't need to be going and introducing ourselves to our neighbors while our kids drowning in the bathtub. Right. We got so a balance to everything, right? But introduce yourself to your neighbors. Bake them cookies. Bake them some bread. Whatever the case may be. Try to be a good neighbor, because that's gonna really help to build that community. And then go to church. Go to, if it's not a church, if it's a synagogue or a temple or anything else like that, that's where your faith is, your spiritual community. Meet people who you share a faith with, and start to build community that way. And failing those two, if you can, at the very least, just hang out at a pub or some place where people go and hang out and get to know people nearby, because you never know where there might be a connection. God puts somebody in your sphere so that you can meet them, and so that you two can actually build a connection that has a purpose and a destiny later on.
Are you saying to somewhat become a regular somewhere around your house?
Whatever the community that works.
Yeah, I'm not saying be a regular at a bar or
right.
Be a regular at a jail.
But be a regular, but be a regular somewhere where you
your park, your local park.
Yeah.
Damn it, your dog park or something.
Right, right. Yeah, that dog park works too. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Somewhere that vibes with you, where you're going to meet people where you have some common ground already.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that, like, speaking of a pub, and we, before the show, I had mentioned I wanted to talk about this, is one of the things I noticed talking about pubs, because people are going to get excited and be like, oh, so you're telling people to go get drunk. No, I'm not telling people to go get drunk. I'm telling people to develop close-knit relationships and
social skills.
Right, exactly. Social skills are the thing. And not only the social skills, but the social advantage, the advantage of having friends that are willing to help you in a pinch. Amber and I were watching Cheers. It may have been last night or the other night, because we've been rewatching the series Cheers. And one of the things that I noticed about about that show in particular, and don't get me wrong, there are a couple women in it throughout, but that show is a show about men and different kinds of men.
Even Lilith Crane.
Right, even Lilith Crane, for sure. But there are different men and different kinds of men. I mean, and sadly, I would probably be Frasier in this. in this group.
I don't know, man. Golly, I hope for your sake, Amber doesn't wrap him in an ace bandage like that. That's rough stuff there, man.
Yeah, for sure. But no, one of the things I notice is we just don't have that shit in our culture that much anymore, where a bunch of guys are hanging out, and I'm sure it happens. We just don't see it. It's not in shows.
Carla gives off some male energy too. Now that I think about it,
like I said, man,
she's like she came out the mud. Like she's got some grit to her. She doesn't take shit from anybody. I was just I'm thinking through the show, and I'm thinking of the different characters. But yeah, it's that's a great way to kind of bring that, like, what it means, because those people, it wasn't just about getting drunk. Like, they were talking through their problems with each other.
Correct.
They were giving each other ideas,
watching football,
right? Watching sports together, watching whatever, and talking through issues that were going on in the world, and kind of giving their thoughts on them and their perspectives. All good stuff. So that kind of dovetails into the next one too, which is supporting local businesses. So that can kind of build into that community, that other extended part of your community as well. If you are in hey, what's up? So Carlos is here. I appreciate that. Hadn't seen you in a while. I know you send every now and then. You'll send like those little tweets and everything, and you'll tag me on it. But usually I miss the boat, and I'm too late to the party, and the story is already gone. But
that with a black guy on here, it's a bus.
What?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I thought it was
Nicco, get in the back of the bus.
I thought that was more of a. I thought that was more of a.
My last comment, sure.
I was going to say. I think
my last comment, I'll get in the back of the bus.
He's Puerto Rican, so it actually fits. The boat thing fit. No, I'm just joking. But we're giving Tower Gang a run for their money. So really though, you start to. Those supporting local businesses, that's another way, like Nicco was talking about, the dog park or something that fits. It doesn't make sense for you to go hang out at the dog park. You don't have any dogs. You kind of look like a weirdo, right?
Unless you're scouting for a dog. Like, if you got no understanding of what the fuck.
You're out there scouting I'm just trying to see.
Like
I'm trying to see what kind of dogs y'all got out here. Yeah, you still look like a dog pervert or something. Like, I don't know. It's like going and hanging out at the playground and you don't have any kids. It's kind of weird.
Right.
Go somewhere where it makes sense. but your local businesses, that's a good way. If you're like we were talking about before we came on, if you just go to Home Depot and Lowe's and everything, that you're less likely to build a really solid local relationship than you are if you go to your local hardware store that's owned by the same family that's owned it for 80 years or 50 years or something like that. You actually get to know people, and then you might go to Home Depot and you're like, hey man, do y'all have this part, this certain length and this certain, that fit this color or whatever? And they're like, nope, sorry, this is all we got. Because it's Home Depot. Yeah. They have what they have, and that's it. You go to your local hardware store, they can special order that thing for you, and they don't have any problem.
We'll have it delivered to you by Wednesday.
Right? Exactly. Like I went and had some when we were selling our house. I went and had some screens made for the windows, because we had. The crazy thing is, I ended up finding the screens that were missing. They were in the attic. Like the people who owned the house before us had put them in the attic, and it never bothered me that they weren't there. But when they came and did the appraisal and the inspection, they're like, "You're missing these screens. You have to replace them, or they're not going to buy the house." I was like, "Fine, whatever." So I went and had the damn things made. I had to measure them, measure all that stuff and everything. I'm not making screens myself.
What, you didn't want to call Felco?
I didn't want to do it myself. That's one where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna trust a professional with this. But anyway, so I did that, and then I also I got my son like a piece of plexiglass for the side of his computer case, because he had one. It's like this tempered glass, and it felt tempered glass is great. If you throw a rock at it, it won't break. But if the corner touches anything, the whole thing shatters. So it's weird. It's like it's
wait,
stable.
What is it called again?
Tempered glass, so it's stable if you hit it like this.
Is it like thick as shit?
Yeah, but the thing is, so it's
I cut
two things. It's like
with it last year.
It's like double pane, where it's got like this little plastic flexible shit on the inside, so like it doesn't shatter and make shit go everywhere. But anyway, the thing is, I was sliding this case out.
You broke it, didn't you?
To put some RAM in, and all it did, I slid it out like this, and it just went, and it fell from this far off the ground and hit the tile floor, and the whole thing shattered. And so I had to get it. So I just had a piece of plexiglass made, because I couldn't find the actual.
Wait, where'd you go to that? You went to a local store for that?
I went to a local hardware store, and they just went, and I told them the dimensions. They just went and got the glass. They had this big glass cutter, and they cut the plexiglass for me. I could have done regular glass. Like that's how you do. If you got a window that goes out, you go get it at the hardware store, and then you just pop it out, and then you put it in. You put the putty and shit around it. And
wait, peep rhetoric. This is all you got to do to really start building your network. If you're too shy to go to your neighbors, you have to have a conversation with somebody at the store. So if you go to the local stores, the owners, hey, I'm having something over at my house. Oh, hey, I'm having something. Go to all your local stores, get acquainted with them, and then bam, there's your little community.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing too, I mean, the advantage you get from local too is that they're not shy about telling you how they did some shit. We deal with this with local gardeners we deal with. Hey, I did this, and you can do that, and this will make this grow better, and all of that kind of stuff. But Tiffany at the fucking Home Depot, you're like, I need glass cut. She's like,
aisle 18, I think.
Yeah, exactly. If she knows what aisle it's in.
I was gonna say, well, no, they send you to stand by the thing where they cut glass, and you wait 45 minutes for Jim, who has been on break, and he's he's the only guy qualified to cut glass, and then he comes over there after 45 minutes, and he tells you, we don't have anything that
we don't have that glass. Go try Lowe's. They might be messing up.
Right.
It's like, bro, come on. What the hell? Whereas the other guy will be like, "Oh yeah, we don't have that, but I'll special order it for you. When do you want it in?"
Right.
So it's much better to go that route. Now, adding on to that, just kind of continuing down in that vein, is visit the local farmers market. This is something that we started doing when the whole lockdown stuff first started. Is there were a few places that you could go where people weren't psychos about this stuff, and we could actually go and converse with people and buy shit, and it wasn't just Walmart or anything like that. It was going to local people, and that's where you can get your raw honey, you can get your raw milk, you can get fresh vegetables. They had all kind of people making elderberry syrup and all these different things that do a much better job of keeping you healthy and in the things that you need. What do we have here? Said, dude opened a bistro near my house. Took him a year to get through all the process. He goes there and drop. There you go. See, that's the way to do it, because that guy is going to have your back too.
Factual.
And absolutely.
And there's that guy's probably not going to make you show your passport when you come to the door, even if the governor or the mayor mandates it, right?
Correct.
Feel me? So like, these are the kinds of things. This is like we got a little wake up call. We got our little dose of what I think the next thing is going to be an even stronger version of. And no, I don't mean a magic virus. I mean like the next, whatever the scare tactic is going to be. And we need to be, it was tough to try to scramble in the midst of all that. And I saw a lot of people doing that. Like, if you already were like I think the three of us here were kind of already built into sort of some off the grid community type stuff where we had some ways to do some things. But everybody wasn't situated like that. And even with that, I still was relying on some things that I have now found ways to avoid or not rely on so much. Yeah. So, but the other thing is, Marcus brought this up when we were putting this list together, is we didn't have a real good way to describe it except for Hotep and Build Voltron, which is like finding people who have a diverse set of skills and can do different things, so that when the shit really does hit the fan, you have somebody who, like my dad and I have been going. So my dad found a mechanic downtown that he's been going to since the 70s. And now the guy's son basically runs the shop. Like the dad is still there. He's like almost 80. But his son is like my age. And now we chop it up. And it's so crazy. Like we're sitting there talking, and he's telling me about how he read or he listened to the audiobook of Outwitting the Devil. And I was like, that's hilarious. I didn't even realize I had the book with me. And I got to where I was going out of town. And I was like, oh shit, I had this book in my bag, and I was at the shop because I had to get my tire. I had a nail in my tire, so he like patched it and everything for me. But anyway, so I sent him a picture of the book from where I was, because we text each other all the time. I've actually shared this show with him. Like it's crazy. Like, so back in the 70s, my dad finds this little mechanic shop. It's this, this, I don't know, little black dude that's like my dad's age, like 20 something, started his own little, mechanic shop and everything. And that's where my dad's been going since, he was in his 20s.
That's the way to do it.
And now I go there, and it's his son. And so me and his son are sitting there, and we're hotepping and building. And I'm telling him about Sonny Johnson. And I told him about Maj, and like he shared flyers. Like I actually dropped off a bunch of flyers when we had the event at his shop and everything, because it was like, here's a guy who gets it. Like he recognizes. And it was funny. He saw my Hotep Nation hat. He's like, why you got the Maserati logo on your hat? I was like, it's not the and then he saw, like, when I turned sideways, he's like, oh wait, that's not the Maserati logo. But anyway, it's just doing little stuff like that, where like I know now I don't need to know how to do all the stuff that he knows how to do. I need to be really good at what I know how to do, so that when he needs me, I can help him like he's helped me. Because, dude, I can't tell you how many times we've gone over there, and I'm like, hey, my car, like, take it around the block a couple of times, because when I hit the accelerator, it'll just kind of like hiccup a little bit. He comes back and he's like, oh yeah, that's your air intake right here. He's like, you got a little leak. You see where this corrugated spot is? It's cracked right there. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. So I'll get that part, and we'll get it replaced. He's like, I tell you what, before you do that, he gets a roll of duct tape, wraps duct tape around it. He's like, come back when it starts doing it again, and we'll fix it then.
Right.
It's like there's no need to spend any money right now. It'll run fine with this duct tape on it. I was like, all right, cool. So sometimes it's like that, and I'm like, how much do I owe you? He's like, shit. Like, you know, it's good to have,
baby.
It's good to have people who like, you know, you can count on, and they'll just help you out because it's the right thing to do. And and so then when the time's right, I'm like, look, man, I'm paying you cash for whatever this is, you know, like I'm not, and no, don't tell me it was $6 to plug the nail hole in my tire. I'm going to give you $20 and whatever, or like I'll go get him lunch or something and bring it back to him so he didn't have to leave, whatever.
Yeah, and it doesn't. This kind of goes back to the Voltron thing too. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like a business or someone directly teaching you stuff, or helping you out. And one thing that happened to me is just know-how. Sometimes somebody saying, "Oh, that's not the way to do that." As an example, I'm currently refurbishing a building that I have behind my house that we've converted into a temple, and we're going to have other stuff. It's going to be off the grid eventually and have like solar panels and all that kind of stuff in it. But anyhow, my step, I thought, was going to be, okay, I got to get electric in here and then, get that all ran. And then I want to do the insulation and get that done. And my buddy Matt said, no, you don't want to do electric right now. You want to get that insulated, because throwing that in, he works for a hotel, so he's done this shit over and over again. He was like, if you put the electric in first, you're gonna have to work around that shit to get the insulation in. He was like, I know that you want to be able to get in there and get everything hooked up power wise, so you can have lights and you can have all this stuff. He said, but you don't want to do that because you want to get it insulated, and it'll be really hard to go back in around wires and try to do that. So that's what I've done. And so sometimes it's not even like them working on something for you. It's
just a heads
saying,
up.
Right. Hey, you don't want to do it that way. Do it this way. You know?
No, that goes back to like the family part. Like I can't tell you how many times my dad has helped me with stuff like that, where I'm like, hey, have you ever had this happen before? And he's like, oh yeah, look at this. Right. And it just something. Sometimes it's some simple stuff. So, but yeah, so Hotep and build Voltron. For those of you who don't remember Voltron, I know Nicco, this is your chance now. You raised your hand before the during the cold open. So I'm gonna get. So you remember Voltron, or you have watched the reruns?
I've watched the reruns, as a shorty. Like I would put on and all that. I don't remember like everything specific, but I know what the fuck Voltron is for sure.
Yeah, Voltron was the shit back in the day when Chad and I were growing up. Man, that was the stuff. Even though it's formulaic as shit, like every day at the exact same time.
It's like the Good Doctor. I don't know if y'all have ever watched that show, but it's Freddie Highmore, and he's like this autistic doctor. And every episode is pretty much the same thing. It's somebody comes in and they have this condition that nobody knows what it is. They're completely baffled. The whole hospital is baffled, and he knows exactly what it is. But everybody's just like, no, he's retarded. Don't listen to him. This guy's he's crazy. He's so annoying. Like, because he's autistic, so he has like this really awkward way of talking to people. He's very abrasive. He says stuff that like pisses people off because he doesn't have a filter. He's autistic. He doesn't have a filter. Like his social skills aren't the same as everybody else's, except he's right. And so it'll be something like somebody got a spider bite, and they're like, I don't think it's a spider bite. They do everything they can to address it except treat it as a spider bite. Next thing you know, they've like amputated the person's foot, and finally somebody's like, you know what? I think he's right. It's a spider bite. Then they treat it with the anti-venom or whatever for the spider bite. The thing is gone, but they already amputated their foot. It's like, y'all could have saved this person's foot if you just listened to him. Right. And the next episode, they act like they didn't know that he's solved every mystery so far.
Right. Pay attention to Timmy. Timmy knew what he was doing.
Just like that show Monk with Tony Shalhoub, where it's like it's the same thing. It's like, this guy's got OCD. Don't listen to him. Like, why not? He's brilliant and he always solves everything. Why would you not listen to him?
Right.
Every time they discount him. Anyway.
But that's all the time, dude. Just a little side note. Star Trek. I think the reason Worf got the big forehead really wasn't because he was a Klingon. It's because this motherfucker, they'll be like, let's poke it with a stick. And Worf's like, I don't think poking it with a stick's a good idea. And they're like, great, let's poke it with a stick. And then when it blows up in their face, Worf's like, I told you not to poke it with a stick. Every fucking time. Worf is that guy on Star Trek.
They're always playing the regression to the mean. They're like, listen, you can't be right every time. This is bound to be the time you're wrong. Like, no, I'm gonna go with he's right.
Right.
Because he's probably right. But yeah, so Voltron was this it's kind of like the Megazord in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or whatever, where it was the thing that they built when they all came together, and together they were stronger than they were apart. You know, that kind of thing. So that's what we're trying to build. We want to have like that diverse skill set. And I want to say the thing that that Carlos. So anyway, that's Reacciona Puerto Rico said the thing about a welder, a plumber, a mechanic, an EMT nurse, and a military or law enforcement officer to meet up and learn from each other. That's really good advice. But I have to say, because he put the thing about the EMT and the nurse in there, I just want to say, like, if I put this on Twitter yesterday. We have a friend of my family. My daughter went to school with his twin sisters. This kid is in his 20s. He's an EMT, and he was in the back of an ambulance working on a patient. And there was a 3-car collision, and the driver of the ambulance died. The patient died, and this kid that I know, his name's Hunter Frugier. He is. He had a surgery today to fix his hip. He had a surgery yesterday for his spleen and he had a gash in his head and stuff. He's alive. He's okay-ish, but anyway, just they need some prayers. Today is the 5-year anniversary from the day that they lost his dad to cancer. And so it's like, man, like this family's been through a lot. So if you don't mind, if you could offer up some prayers for that. And that's another thing. Like I can't emphasize the prayer and building that spiritual community enough, because that's a big part of it. Like your family, it starts with that. It starts with your relationship with God, because God gave you that family for a reason, and it's our duty to do the best we can to preserve and strengthen it and serve our role in it. And then once you've done all that stuff, now you can reach out and do some volunteer work, do other things in your community to help folks who can't, because a lot of what we talked about is kind of leveraging your skills to leverage the skills of other people, and you kind of have like this mutual benefit. The volunteer stuff comes where there's not really that material mutual benefit. There might be another benefit that you get from doing volunteer work, but probably you do it with the assumption that you're not going to be paid back for it. You are doing more this
spiritually and wholesomely. Like it's something that makes you feel good, because it's like, I don't have to spend my time doing this shit. You volunteering your time, your essence, your joy, and your presence in some place, it was most definitely much more beneficial than anybody would really be able to recognize until they meet another person that they volunteered for, or it's something that you just do because it's like, it's something that it's necessary. Like volunteering is genuinely necessary. If you don't, you're always to yourself and you're always trying to take, then you're more of a detriment to society than helping society.
Yeah, and on social media, so often people are saying, I want to save the world and I want to do all this craziness, but they can't show up at the local food bank and, donate some time feeding some poor people. Get involved. One of the things
they can't even listen to their kid while they're tweeting.
Right.
Like sometimes I fail in this. Like I get called on it, and I have to step back and be like, yeah, you're right. Put my phone down. Okay. You have my undivided attention now. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, I was just saying, and that's largely what a lot of these are also about. We have to be willing. One of the things I said before we came on was that we should be giving more than we're receiving from our community. If you're, and if you're not willing to give more than you receive from your community, you're not in the right community, because you should want to, like for instance, in my community, I want to give to my kids. I want to have a fun time when they come over. I want to feed my neighbor. I want to, I know what it's like to not have a bunch of food and be struggling and not be able to have fresh tomatoes. Well, you know what? Bring that to the people that you have near you. What'd you say, Nicco?
No, I was saying
what's up to Cassius.
Oh yeah, right on. Yeah. Cam's a great dude too, and man, it'd be great if he was closer. I'd love to have him.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt to have a mixed martial arts firefighter in your little circle. Right,
love to have me some Cam.
But that goes into that build a self-defense network thing that we had put in there too. That we were talking about before. So that's a that Nicco had brought up before we came on. But now that we've gone through this list, I kind of want to, and I feel like we've gotten some good feedback as we've gone through each of these different items. But so like this is the chance.
Self-defense stuff, though.
Yeah, y'all got anything for us?
Yeah, this is the chance for the chat to pipe up and either share your thoughts on what's on the screen or add to it if you got
and volunteer
something we're missing. Yeah, throw it up.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely do that, because we don't have all the ideas. And if you came here expecting all of them, you're going to be sadly mistaken.
Can you guys see if the Rumble chat?
Yes, I can.
The Rumble chat? Oh.
Yeah, there's only so far. So we got people over there, viewers and everything. But so far the only live chat is Dutch, and he just said Hotep. So Hotep, back to you, Dutch. I would have said it in the chat, but I can't because it said I didn't verify my Rumble account yet, even though
you didn't verify your age yet.
I'm streaming on Rumble right now, but whatever. I'll get it fixed.
Besides the self-defense network, I believe that what you said earlier is like a sense of politics, having a sense of values established amongst that community. And so we have an understanding of, hey, this is how we move. This is how I aim to grow. And this is what my vision is for this community. Because you can build a community, but it's always best to add attribute goals to something that is always building, or
Right.
And I agree. I want to touch on the self-defense stuff in a minute, but to go on to the local because I'm not a political person, because I don't believe that force is necessary. But because to me, political means forcing people to do shit. But
sometimes it's
I know
helping to stop them from forcing you to do shit. So.
I get that, but all of that being said, I've also said that if our community really, because let's be clear. People are starting to move my direction. I've got kids that are honestly looking to try to move closer. I've got Michael has moved closer to me. Scott's moved closer to me. We're getting ourselves kind of positioned. And one of the things that I've said is that if we get enough of us in this community, we need to get somebody on the town council. And I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in all this nonsense. But while we have a fucking state that we're working within, in my local community, I'm not trying to deal with people in Chad's community or in Nicco's community or any of those people, but I want somebody on that we know on that local community, because I watched what happened to Osho when they moved in their group, and Rajneesh was attacked because they didn't have anybody on the town council. So they didn't have a voice in the political machinations that were coming against them. I want to own the police. I don't want to deal with the police telling me what I can and cannot do, because I'm the one that holds the fucking keys to the goddamn job. And you can call me a statist for that all you want. I'm just being pragmatic in the moment.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Because that needs to happen. So I think that, again, it goes back to Spooner, who said that the only time you should get together and have a legitimate kind of political activity is when it's in self-defense. And to me, in your local community, that's something you can do.
Of course, Cam. All right, so listen. Obviously, y'all know how to type, motherfuckers. I want to hear. Did we miss anything? Are we missing anything from this list? Is there anything we can add to it, or do you guys have any thoughts on it besides what you've already posted? I want to see a little bit of that too. So go ahead, pipe up in the chat. Tell us if there's something else we could add to this list. Anything that we missed. We want to try to build a list that we can kind of go off of how we can do a better job of being a good anarch and hotepping and building our own our community. And I want to touch on while everybody starts typing away. I want to touch on what Marcus was just saying, because I do think what you were talking about, like what you have started to build with your friends and family and in your local community with your neighbors and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I've done some of the same things too. And I think Nicco has too, especially like with his family, building that little network and kind of influencing his siblings. And I mean, I would even say, like, I think he's probably made an impression on like his parents and some of the elder, wiser folks. Because I think it would be hard for him not to.
I have a lot of old friends.
And old friends too. There you go.
Older people as friends.
There you go. See,
he's got an old soul, man.
But so the political stuff can play a role, and yes, sometimes there's like what I referenced was I've had some very immediate, like, we need to stop something from happening. I need to go, I'll go testify before a state, legislature committee or something like that, state Senate, state House committee, those kinds of things at the state capitol, because I live in the capital city. So like it's easy for me to get there. I just have to schedule the time. But I think building that community is as, if not more important. Like you can't do one and not the other. You need to first do the community stuff and make that be your number one goal. And even with the stuff that I've been doing, some of it has been, I'll be frank, like, yes, I go and I testify when I feel like it's something worth testifying for. But the rest of the time, I'm just in a community, in like this big group chat with people where we talk about this stuff. And I'm trying to network with people so that we know who knows who and how we can make things happen if we need to. But also I'm trying to influence that group of people that, like, hey, look, this is not the answer. And like, y'all are all talking about Trump and DeSantis and like giving your thoughts on which one you think is the least corrupt and whatever and everything. It's like, y'all, like, it's
they're politicians.
Well, not only that, but like the presidential election is like the least important thing that we spend way too much time talking about. It's easily got the most disproportionate amount of influence it has on your daily life, and how much time people spend on it is way out of proportion, massively out of proportion.
For sure.
And I was talking with my uncle about this a couple of weeks ago, and he argued with me about it and talked about the gas prices and everything. And I ended up showing him, like, he pulled up the stats on like what the gas price has been every January for like the last 30 years or something like that. And I was like, and I was going through, like, oh, yep, that was under Bush. Okay, yeah, that was under Obama. So does Obama get credit for that? And he was just like, oh, because he was saying that like the reason everything's so expensive now is because of Biden. And I'm like, bro, like, Trump printed like $9-10 trillion.
Right.
Like that all happened under his watch. And he's like, that was COVID relief. And I was like, no, bro. Like, that's what they said it was, but it was a bunch of bullshit. Like, how much of that money went to that place where those people live? And how much went to some other BS in like foreign investments and all this other kind of nonsense? So like, miss me with that. But anyway, the point is, like, you keep witnessing to the truth as you see it, and you start to wield some influence. So some of it is just getting involved with that stuff so that people can see, like, okay, like, this person's real. They're not just a drive-by shit talker. Like, maybe they really maybe we should listen. And I try to be respectful and genuine with as many people as I can, so that they know when I do decide to say something, that I'm coming from a place of like authenticity, and I'm not just, talking out of my ass.
Absolutely. And, again, I think that there's a balance to be made between all of these things, and I think that we spend so much time in it's good to know what's going on in the world. It's good to know, like you were talking about with the gas prices and all of that kind of stuff. But it's good to know, what's going on. I want to know, that we're on the verge of World War III. I want to know that shit. They don't want to talk about it on the news, but I want to know that because I just would like to know some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that is, to your point, that is nowhere near as important as what kind of fuckery they're doing in the town, And in my little town that I've got, if these assholes that are in charge of this town do not get some kind of reckoning for what they're doing right now, that I don't know what will. They have destroyed my little town with the, who will build the roads? People that can't fucking build a road. I'll tell you who, because these motherfuckers cannot build a road. Get this on top of that. So they got all our roads destroyed. This is the town council, right? They hired somebody's brother to fuck our roads up. I mean, destroyed the roads. There is holes everywhere that they made, not just potholes. They've destroyed this town. Then they decide that, the lowest common denominator with a fucking trash pickup is, what do you know? If you pay somebody the smallest amount, they don't do as good a job as the people you were doing. So, yeah, right. But instead of fixing the problem, they hired back the old people that they had doing it. But they don't start until the third week of July. And meanwhile, I'm paying a fucking bill to the town for trash removal to have to not have a trash carrier or not trash pickup person from the beginning of July to the third week in fucking July. And their solution was put trash bags out in your front yard because they're taking away the containers that they supplied.
What?
As part of our thing is rental.
So that the like raccoons and dogs can go.
I have raccoons in my yard.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So this
is trash flying everywhere.
Right.
Oh shit, man.
For 3 weeks, dude.
Not only that, but that shit'll kill your grass too.
Right.
Especially if it's anything like it is down here, where it's like the sun is out 9 million degrees all day, and
Baking.
like
middle of July.
The grass is on fire. Like you get off the concrete and you get on the grass and your feet cool off a little bit. Nope, your feet are still on fire when you get on the grass. That's how hot the damn grass is.
So these idiots can't even do it. So again, we should be focusing on that kind of shit. And bitching about their stupid shit because it impacts my life. What dumb shit they're doing in Washington, D.C. may eventually affect my life. I buy that. I understand that. But not right now. How about we deal with right now first?
Yeah, well, all right. So speaking of that sort of stuff, so I gotta I'm gonna pull the big screen down and just put us full screen because I got to do this. So I'm about to turn my camera off. So this is another thing that I think is important that's not on that list yet. That's me and Nicco in Chicago. We met face to face, met in person finally. But I was gonna say, like, one of the things that probably should be on that list is to turn this electronic world where we know each other, this electronic family, electronic network where we all know each other, and make it a reality as much as you can. If you can make it, come to HotepCon. I've met Cassius Cam there. I've met Carlos there. Tim, who's one of our Patreon subscribers, Brody, all those guys. Hotep Dutch just let us know he's going to be at HotepCon in August. Marcus, one day, hopefully.
I'm trying. I got to get some money.
Yeah, look, I'm feeling you this year. Like it's my family there's some stuff that we've had to deal with that is whipping my ass. My daughter got in a car wreck, and anyway, we're still waiting on like some payouts. She got hit from behind by like a truck like a delivery truck, and anyway, she's got some hip issues and shit. But anyway, it's been a difficult year, but I'm still going to try and make it because it's something that is worth the investment. But I get it. Like it ain't cheap, but I'm just saying it's very much worth it. It'll be my third year in a row going, and I can't wait to see the folks there. But
I certainly
as much as you can, try to meet people that, sometimes it's by accident. Shout out to Sixth Book. Sometimes it's by accident, but meet people in person. This stuff on Twitter is all great and everything, but one of the things that I love about this show is that we have been able to, even if it's not in person, we've at least been able to
still
meet over and see each other face to face and have conversations with some folks who I haven't yet met in person. Some of them I have. I got to meet Felicia, Olivia, Patriot J, Sonny, Jeff, and a lot of those folks in person. But there's still some folks like Trey, who is going to be at HotepCon this year, God willing, and I finally am going to get to meet him in person. But we've had him on the show a couple of times, like 3 times, I think. So those kinds of things are also, I think, vital to this. Is to the extent that we have extended our arms outside of our local community and our family, and we have these long distance relationships with people over social media and everything else, as much as you can, try to, even if it's just something as simple as like, the reason Nicco is on this show now is because Nicco reached out to me in the Hotep Nation chat, and we had a phone conversation, and we just talked for like 3 hours. And next thing I know, I'm like, bro, you should come on our show and talk about this stuff with Marcus, because he was talking about being from Haiti and voodoo and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, like this will be wild. Let's do it. So,
and presto, Nicco's awesome.
Next thing you know, Nicco's here going on 3 years now, I think, or maybe did we pass 3 years already? Did you come before your birthday in I
think we have
2020, or did you come after your birthday?
I think
was it June or July?
It was after.
Okay.
I think it was like July or August.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, let's just say it's been 3 years. But yeah, it's so here we go.
Around 3 years.
I wouldn't change it.
Holy shit, 3 years strong?
Yeah. I did my first show with Marcus in April of 2020, in the middle of the magic virus madness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to start calling it
after
now.
I was psychic and
magic virus
predicted that shit.
Yeah.
And then you too.
Yeah, and well, and that's when I told you had to watch Demolition Man so you could see how exactly like magic virus madness Demolition Man was.
Yep.
No one can touch each other, and you get charged money for saying bad words, and it's man. There you go. See, shout out to Carlos. He said he was in Baltimore and he hit Cannon up. That's what you got to do. And I've done it a couple of times where I'm going to a certain place and I'll be like, hey, is anybody around here? So it doesn't always work out, but when possible, yeah, link up with folks.
Wait, I met up with Hotep Yatusabes when he came out here.
Oh, Victor?
Yeah, Victor.
Oh,
Victor,
for real?
Yeah. When he came out here,
I love it.
He came out here one time, and we linked up. It was a very fun time.
See, that's good shit.
Yeah. So I actually got to get back, network with him again. It's been a minute since I chopped it up with him, but
I don't think I've ever seen Hotep Goldstein. Have you ever jumped in while we're live? Let's go. One day we got to get Hotep Goldstein in here.
One of these days we got to get all these motherfuckers.
I know, right?
And our chat.
We get Carlos in here because he's always breaking down. Like he's got his ear to the pulse of like some of the underground news stories that nobody else talks about, and he'll just like drop this thing. He's like, "Hey, have y'all heard about this?" And it's like, "Damn, who is your source?" but no, this it's just, I don't know. We got such a great community through Hotep Nation and like just our overall like kind of libertarian adjacent style community. It's just
if we could get all of our anarchist friends and Hotep friends together, the government piss itself. That's all
I kind of think they already are, but let's not talk about Joe Biden's incontinence.
Right.
That's not fair. He's old.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's I know, Nicco, you got a dinner to go to, and I have actually one of my sons has a basketball game in a little bit, so I need to bounce too. But this has been really good, really great.
This was super fire.
And by the way, Hotep Goldstein, I have to go back and finish watching the what's his name? Young Pharaoh interview because I never got to finish it. I was like busy that day, and then I started watching a little bit of it, and then I saw that like apparently you lit the thing on fire, so I got to go back and watch that just so I could see the fireworks.
And I want to, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
still blocked by Young Pharaoh. By the way, shout out to Young Pharaoh for blocking me 2 years ago and still having me be blocked.
Why were you blocked?
I don't know. I think probably because I'm white and I said something, and so he was just like, "That's it."
Young Pharaoh is a super black nationalist, and anything the white man says,
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost certain it was it was.
I'm currently blue
racist.
from the waist down, so
yeah,
not black.
I'm certain it was racist, and I'm not even bothered by it. Like it's just like whatever. Like I get it. Like okay, cool. Like. Power, yeah.
Right. Right. I still like that they call Hoteps, and I totally will take this. They call them Ankh, right? Yeah. I'm about that because Ankh is life. That's what it means. Mm-hmm. So I'm all about
life.
Yeah, right. I am
life right.
Yeah, life right. And so I'm all in for that, but. I wanted to say, because we've mentioned it, if any of our friends, our Hotep friends, are moving around the nation, I would love to sit down and talk with people. Give me a group text. We'll figure it out. I live in Indiana. If you're in the Indiana area, want to talk to an anarchist, hit me up on fucking on Twitter, and we'll work it out. Depending on who you are, because sorry, if I don't really kind of know you, I'm not going to bring you to my house. But at least until I've met.
Understandable.
Right. But if you're Hotep Jesus, come on over. I got to play. We'll get dinner. Or somebody, or frankly, Cam, or any of those kind of people. But if I know who you are, then we'll hook you up. I might have a little bit of weed in it for you, but I think that meeting each other in the real world, not just online, is what they don't want us to do. The people in power want us to keep to our little controlled Twitter spaces, and we blow that to shit when we start showing up not only together but in mass. When Hotep Nation gets together in Las Vegas, I guarantee that scares the shit out of them, because no matter how much they can monitor, they can't monitor at all. And those people are people who think and are putting their thoughts into action. And so I want to do that. That's something I want to do. It is not hard to be an official member, if you will, of Babylon's Cup, of our little group. All you got to do is show up and be willing to help. And so that's not that hard. So if you're in the Indiana area, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. It was a little bit anyway, but if you're in the Indiana area, look me up and we'll figure it out.
Word. And I don't know. If you I won't speak for Nicco in Chicago, but same goes for Louisiana. If you're down here,
I will say if you work with the FBI and I find out, I will mace you. But I'll mace you with love.
Where's my hat, man?
If you're really dope and you cool, come on through. We got some cots for you. If you don't like a cot, I'll let you sleep in my bed. But it's $25 though.
Oh my God.
So Nicco's pimping himself. Did you hear that? And for $25, you can
We got
pimp
cats
yourself.
and Haitian food. The Haitian food is free, but the bed, we tax for that.
Oh my God.
We tax for that.
Oh,
I love all y'all.
Nicco's bringing Airbnb back all by himself. Damn.
For sure. He's got her.
Hotep
my
Airbnb starting over here. Come on,
That's
man.
right.
Hoteps get a discount. My bad.
There you go,
It's
there you
$8 for y'all, $25 for anybody.
For
else.
anybody else. Okay.
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
Cool. Well,
The password is Hotep, or the what is the coupon code is Hotep. Yeah. There you go.
Right. So thank you everybody for watching us, and build your own communities. If you do something different than we do, great, do that. You know, see what works. Tell us about it. We'd love to hear it. Hit us up in the comments, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on all the places where we are. And until we meet again, stay free.
Peace out.